Remember, my patrons actually got to see previews and work in progress images of this as I worked on it. If you want to join them, all you gotta do is support me. The link is in the description below. Hello out there, this is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with a toy commission for Sonicpatron. It is a wedding cake topper, of course Sonic themed. Someday I might be asked to make a wedding cake topper with a different character theme, but it is not this day. So let's get right into it. First, let's make the Sonic groom figure. The sculpting on this is actually pretty minimal, as the only thing that needs to be added are the lapels and tie for his little, suit jacket. Because, tuxedo. I went with a teal tie this time by the commissioner's request. This is pretty much where you get the difference in colors. Although, aside from that one guy, girl, or I forgot. Someone asked for Sonic to be in a Doctor Who themed suit, so that was the only time I ever had to paint a different color suit. That was funny. Anyway, the shoes are just a basic repaint, and so are the arms. Then, when I reassembled the figure, I realized I made a mistake. It kind of looks like he has a shirt that tucks into nothing, doesn't it? Yeah, this is when I remembered how important it is for Sonic to wear a cummerbund, because it's the only thing he can tuck his shirt into since he refuses to wear pants. And yes, I would totally imagine that Sonic would refuse to wear pants even on his own wedding day. That is something that I would vehemently defend. Of course, the Amy figure is always the one that's more complex because, as we all know, you put a lot more attention into the wedding dress than you do into the groom's tuxedo. At first, let's take care of the stuff that I can repaint. Her shoes, white. Her hairband, white. And I cut off the plastic parts of her dress and painted on the little X-strap gown design, which is what the commissioner wanted for his dress. Her dress. I don't know the gender of the person who commissioned me. Sonicpatron doesn't really tell me anything like that. That's not really so much a name like Bill or Sally or something. Anyway, the dress itself is made out of this decorative ribbon that I find at craft stores. It's a nice little thing which is often used to make I think trimming for real dresses, but it actually does make a pretty good job of doing an action figure sized dress all on its own. I cut it in a particular way so that when you look, she has a little bit of a train behind her, as, a wedding dress goes. And then I used a bit of tulle fabric to make her veil. It's the same kind of fabric that you use to make actual wedding veils, although at this small size, it's, the fabric's own stiffness kind of keeps it supported, so it stands back a little bit. But that's fine. The way I attached it to her head, you can fold it up in front of her face if you want to, but I think it looks prettier folded back. All that was left after that is to make her little bouquet. The commissioner wanted white flowers, so the flowers are white this time. And now we can get to making that Green Hill themed base that we always go with, because everyone wants Green Hill, and I can see why. The hard part, of course, is painting that checker pattern for the rock side face and the grass. Seriously, this is the most tedious part of the entire build. It takes 2 hours to paint all these little squares. And then, of course, there's the decorations. The flowers are made out of toothpicks and craft foam, and the ring is a 4-inch diameter brass ring, which I made a spike out of epoxy. Now, you might see these 2 little white lines, well, 4 white lines that I painted on the base. Here's a better look at them. These are the guide markers. It is how Sonicpatron will know where to attach Sonic and Amy when they make the cake topper. Because as you know, this foam base is kind of fragile and can't stand up to the rigors of being mailed with all this stuff stabbed into it and glued to it. So it has to be mailed in parts and then assembled by the person who wants to put on their cake topper. But assembly is simple enough. I'll walk you through it real quick right here. So Sonicpatron, listen, this part's specifically for you. Here's a mock build showing everything that it will be in its place. So when the cake topper arrives to the commissioner, you should easily see the 5 holes which mark where you're supposed to stick the flowers. Just put the ring in the middle one, the 2 sunflowers in front of it, and then the 2 violets on the edges. That part's simple enough. As for Sonic and Amy themselves, right here you can see them standing in the place where they're supposed to be. In this case, I stuck toothpicks into the peg holes in the bottom of their feet, and then stuck that into the cake topper itself. So you should find a little hole on these lines as well. I would recommend putting some hot glue either on their feet or on these lines, and then putting them on in this spot. It should be so that once their feet are properly aligned with those lines I painted on, they should easily be able to reach over and hold hands. And, then you'd have your setup for the cake topper. Of course, you can always remove them from the cake topper afterwards, especially if you use hot glue, because that stuff easily comes off without damaging anything. And, then you'd have a Sonic and Amy action figures that are posable. I always do that, but, it's your choice. If you want to keep it as your decorative cake topper for the rest of your life, or have a couple action figures of Sonic and Amy, it's up to you. Alright, so, yeah, that's pretty simple enough. Alright, thank you all for watching this video. This is Wake Angel 2001, signing off once again.